What's going on, guys? It's the other Sean at Shock Surplus, and besides a different face, we actually have something a little different for you today. I actually have the pleasure of unboxing a set of KW Variant 3 coilovers. Now, getting things started, the first thing you're going to see in the box is some premium grade reading material for the German audience. This is your material safety and data sheet. It's in German, so you may need Google Translate for everybody else to figure out what it says. Next, you have the KW toolkit, which comes in this snazzy little box here. When you open it up, the first things you're going to find are your instructions, as well as a lot of the other parts and readouts for the vehicle, and some sweet slap bruv, starting on the big ones as well as the small ones for those of you who don't need to rep KW that loudly. And then within the box you're going to find your rebound knob, a rebound adjuster tool, as well as your spanner wrench, all in a nice place where you can't lose it. Nothing worse than wanting to slam your car a little bit more and then you can't find the spanner wrench. So you gotta look like a hoopty at the old car meet. Now, let's get these girls undressed so I can tell you what they're really about. Now, this particular set is for Subaru BRZs, Scion FRSs, or Toyota GT86s. We'll start off as these are actually your rears, and then these are going to be the fronts. The first thing you're going to notice that is a little different than most coilovers you're used to seeing for performance cars is these actually include a helper spring. How these work and why they're beneficial is that they keep constant preload or constant pressure on the main spring at all times, regardless of ride height. So when you're set at your normal ride height, sitting on the ground, regardless of where you set it, this spring, for the most part, is going to be completely compressed. And then when the suspension unloads or droops out, this spring will be keeping positive pressure and preload on the main spring so that at no point the springs come unseated and you have uncontrolled rebound. If you ever had the situation of your lowering spring setup or your coilover setup that doesn't use a helper spring coming unseated, it's beyond being sketchy and losing traction. It's quite uncomfortable. Speaking on the preload for these setups, these use a composite lock collar as well as trapezoidal threads to make sure at no point throughout the entire life of these coilovers will you ever have an issue with these parts binding up, seizing, rust welding themselves together, so that you can always adjust height regardless of how long they've been on the car. Speaking of height, this particular setup is able to drop your FRS BRZ GT86 between 0.8 or as much as 2 inches of drop from factory height. What makes that actually really cool is you can benefit from the great damper technology of these KW Variant 3s without having to go super low. So 0.8 inches of drop is not very extreme. You won't have to really deal with a lot of the issues daily driving a lowered setup. But if you're someone like me who wants something lower, 2 inches of drop is more than enough for most people. Going back to the incredible damper built into this system that KW uses for their Variant 3s, this package is tuned to provide you the best ride quality possible while also greatly improving handling and performance. To better allow your setup to work for you, KW offers low-speed compression, which is found down here on the fronts, and low-speed rebound, which is found up here on the fronts. You can find that on the bottom, and that little dial you can see just above the eyelet, and then in the same spot for rebound on the rears as well, so that you can tune your setup for your exact needs. Now, a low speed compression and rebound adjustment is largely not going to alter the great ride quality that KW tuned into these shocks. It more so is going to allow for more or less body roll, brake dive, or weight transfer throughout the car. This means you can have a setup that is improving performance and tuned for the way you drive, the way your car is set up, and for the way you like your car to feel without having to sacrifice a comfortable ride. There are really not a lot of coilover setups out there that go through as much extensive testing, as much research, and have as much engineering as the KWs have. The quality is really hard to beat. So this is a coilover setup that you can trust for many years to come. This isn't a use it for a season and then look for your next setup. This is something that many thousands of miles from now will be providing you the performance you asked them to when you first got them. If you have any questions about this coilover setup, another coilover setup, or any suspension setup for your vehicle, feel free to drop a comment below or give us an email at sales@shocksurplus.com, support@shocksurplus.com, or fill out a contact form or hit us up on our live chat at shocksurplus.com.